Gordon gets going. One morning Gordon stood waiting impatiently in the main station yard for Thomas to bring him his fine express coaches. "Hurry up, Thomas," he called. "You're such a slow coach," grumbled Gordon. "The express must not be late." "I'm doing my best," puffed Thomas. "Your big coaches are heavy to pull." "Pah! Not for me," boasted Gordon. "I'm very strong. I was forgetting you're only a little tank engine." Soon Gordon steamed on his way from the main station yard. Thomas watched as the big engine pulled the express coaches with ease. "What a show-off," thought Thomas. "I bet Gordon thinks he's the fastest engine." Later, Thomas took some trucks along his branch line. He was still feeling upset about Gordon. "He's getting too big for his buffers," thought Thomas. Next moment there was a hissing noise from one of Thomas's valves, and soon he began to slow down. "Oh no, I'm starting to lose steam," gasped Thomas. Before long, Thomas had no choice but to stop. Luckily, a signal box was nearby. His driver ran over to telephone the Fat Controller, who sent another engine right away. Who should quickly arrive to take Thomas back to the yard but Gordon? "It's lucky that I'd returned with the express," said Gordon. Thomas did not seem to think so. Gordon began to pull Thomas along. Then both engines heard a spluttering sound which got louder and louder. Suddenly they saw an aircraft flying really close to them. It was diving straight for Thomas. "Look, that plane's in trouble," cried Thomas's worried driver. "The pilot's trying to make an emergency landing." Beyond Thomas and Gordon was a field. "That's where the plane's heading," pointed the driver. "But it's losing height too fast. We're right in its path." Thomas was scared. "Hurry, Gordon," he cried. Sparks flew from under Gordon's wheels. He pulled as hard and fast as his powerful wheels could carry him. "The plane is going to hit us," cried Thomas. But determined Gordon did not give up. In a cloud of smoke and steam, he pulled Thomas clear just in time to let the plane land safely. Now Thomas was glad Gordon was so fast. "Thank goodness you really fly along too, Gordon," puffed Thomas. Here is one of our Sodor friends puffing past a park by the coast. Can you look at the picture and answer some questions about what you can see? Which engine can you see? It's Percy. Hello, Percy. What colour is he? Yes, Percy is green with red stripes. What is the girl holding in her hand? The little girl is holding a juicy pear. Pears are very good for you. How many plates can you see? There are 2 plates. What colour is the flag? That's right, the boy is holding a red flag. Why are the children sitting in the park? Well done, they're having a picnic. What can you see on the little island? It's a lighthouse. A lighthouse stops boats and ships from running into the land at night. They are very important. How many ships are sailing on the sea? There's 1 ship on the sea. Well done. Now it's time to see what Thomas and Diesel are up to in our next story. Feeling fine. Thomas was sent to the big harbour yard to help Diesel shunt trucks, but the little tank engine did not feel very well. Grrr! I think I'm burning some bad coal in my firebox, said Thomas, coughing and spluttering. However hard he tried, Thomas could not build up much steam. The more he puffed, the more he blew sparks and thick, sooty smoke. Pah! Steam engines are so old-fashioned and dirty, hissed Diesel in his oily voice. Your soot's getting in my eyes. Diesel rushed past Thomas to show off. Just see how quick and clean I am because I run on modern diesel oil, he boasted. Thomas felt worse than ever. Diesel was coupled to some trucks. Then he pulled up beside his pump to be filled with fuel. But Diesel was impatient. He moved off too soon, and diesel oil gushed out of the pipe. It poured over Diesel's wheels and onto the track. Diesel tried hard to brake, but he skidded on the slippery oil. Stop! Stop! Cried his trucks. At last, Diesel slid to a halt. His trucks bumped about, spilling some sand over Diesel, which stuck to the oil on him. Now who's dirty? Said Thomas. You've really slipped up this time, Diesel. Thomas was now able to work more efficiently because his fireman had found some better coal to use. Next day, Thomas was washed and polished before he steamed proudly into the big harbour yard. His paintwork sparkled in the sun. Diesel had also been cleaned, but he was still very bad-tempered. I feel as if I've been to the seaside. I've still got gritty sand stuck between my wheels, he growled. Then go slowly today, Diesel, smiled Thomas. Just leave the work to a really useful old-fashioned steam engine like me. What do you remember about our last story? Why did Thomas not feel very well? Correct. Thomas didn't feel well because he was burning bad coal. What made the oil gush out of Diesel's pipe? That's right. It was because Diesel moved away too quickly. He was being very impatient. Does Thomas think Diesel should go faster or slower? Thomas tells Diesel to go slowly because he still has sand between his wheels. Now it's time to learn more about speedy engines. Who's faster? The speed at which any job is done is always very important. But does this mean that faster is always better? Gordon is an express engine. It is his job to deliver important passengers and packages as quickly and efficiently as possible. Gordon is able to speed along much faster than other engines because he makes less stops along the line. Many other engines have to stop at every station on their journey. Harold the helicopter isn't an engine, but he flies along very quickly. Harold is so fast that he is able to deliver his goods more quickly than many of his speedy engine friends. Terence the tractor is not a very fast-moving vehicle. He needs to work slowly and accurately for the Fat Controller. It is Terence's job to plough the field so that the farmer can plant new seeds. If he worked too quickly, he would begin to plough his fields unevenly. Although going faster means doing something much quicker, you are more likely to make a mistake. Getting around. Here are 4 different modes of transport. Let's try and put them in order of who is fastest. Which vehicle do you think is the fastest of all? Is it Bertie? No, it's not Bertie the bus. What about the aeroplane? Yes, the aeroplane is very fast. Passenger aeroplanes can travel well over 400 miles per hour. That's very, very fast. Which do you think is the second fastest? That's right, it's the car, or in this case, the van. Most cars and vans can go over 100 miles per hour, but it's not usually safe for them to do so. And that's why we have speed limits on roads, to keep everyone safe. Which is the third fastest? I'll give you a clue. It's very similar to a car or a van. That's right, it's Bertie the bus. Bertie is capable of travelling around 60 miles per hour at top speed, but not when he's full of passengers. That means the slowest vehicle must be the only one left, the bicycle. A bike's average speed is between 14 and 18 miles per hour. It is by far the slowest way to travel, but the most fun and the best for the environment, because it doesn't use any fuel. Just make sure you wear a helmet. These cyclists are not wearing helmets, but they'll be sorry if they fall off and bump their heads. That was a lot of fun, but now it's time for one last story. The show train. Thomas was excited. It was his first run on the seaside line since the winter season. Lady Hat and the vicar were taking some children on an outing to the beach. It was a lovely sunny morning as Thomas pulled them along in his faithful carriages, Annie and Clarabelle. At the coast, the sun made the blue sea sparkle. Thomas rolled slowly into a station near the beach so all his excited passengers could get off. Then he saw a small striped tent standing beside the pier. Someone waved to Thomas from it. "Look, it's the Punch and Judy man," called Thomas's driver. "He brings his puppet show to the island of Sodor each year." "The children love to see Punch and Judy," smiled Lady Hat when Thomas's driver told her. "I wish I could see them," huffed Thomas as he set off past the pier. On his return journey to the main station, the weather suddenly turned cold. The golden sun disappeared behind big dark clouds and it began to rain heavily. The Fat Controller was waiting for Thomas. "You must hurry and fetch Lady Hat, the vicar and all the children again before they get soaked by the rain," he said. Back went Thomas as fast as he could. Raindrops stung his face as he steamed along. Now the beach was empty. Everyone was sheltering beneath the station roof. The Punch and Judy man was there too. "I do hope the weather gets better soon," he told Thomas. "No one will come to see my show until it does." Thomas had an idea and spoke to Lady Hat. She rang the Fat Controller, who agreed to let the Punch and Judy man put on his show in Clarabelle. How the children enjoyed it. "They saw the show after all," said the vicar. "We must make sure other children don't miss it, even if the weather stays bad," replied Lady Hat. The bad weather continued for many days, so Thomas pulled the Punch and Judy special all over the island of Sodor. At every station, children came to watch the travelling show in Clarabelle. At last the sun came out again. Before the man took his show back to the beach, he brought Punch and Judy to thank Thomas for all his help. "You're welcome," smiled Thomas. "Fancy Punch and Judy coming to see me." The Punch and Judy show was such a success that the Fat Controller decided to allow extra performances inside Annie and Clarabelle. He has even drawn up a special timetable for each show. Now, using the Fat Controller's timetable, we can draw the hands on each clock face to show the time that each performance will begin. What time does the morning show start? The timetable says 11 o'clock. When a clock says 11 o'clock, the big hand points towards the 12. But where do you think the little hand points to? That's right, the little hand points to the number 11. This clock now says 11 o'clock. The afternoon show takes place at 3 o'clock according to the timetable. The big hand will point towards 12 again. But where will the little hand point? You've guessed it, the little hand will be pointing towards the number 3. The last show of the day is the evening show, and that takes place at 6 o'clock. This time, can you tell me where both hands will be pointing on the clock to show that it's 6 o'clock? Let's see if you were right. I bet you were. The big hand will be pointing to the 12, and the little hand will be pointing to the 6. Thank you for helping the Fat Controller. I'm sure he's very grateful. See you again next time. Goodbye. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like down below as well as commenting and subscribing for more stories from the magical island of Sodor. Bye bye!